Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geekonomics. We are back. It's another Monday. It's another show. That's right. It's a Monday. We had a big show yesterday. We'll talk about that. Last of Us last night. We'll talk about that as well. And a whole bunch more. But as always, we start off with, how you doing, Brian? How's things? And how are you?
I am wiped. I am wiped. I feel like I didn't have much of a weekend, I'll tell you that much. It was a busy one. Luckily, Friday was kind of my downtime for the weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday, no joke, we spent majority, and when I say majority, I mean around 10 a.m. to about 7 p.m. taking down and putting away our Christmas decorations.
Oh, wow. Finally, huh?
Yes. It's definitely very time consuming because we're getting rid of a lot of this stuff, and Allison's going through it. And she's taking photos because she's going to post it and we're going to sell it. And
you're going to make room for new stuff you're going to get. So
no. We're making room for no new stuff. We don't have room for no. That's a problem. So that was our Saturday, and our kitchen still has. We have a bunch of Christmas stuff still laid out that needs to. We're still in the process of doing that. Then on Sunday, I didn't have to get up as early, but I still got up at 7. Well, got up at 6, got ready. We did Andrew's show in Manchester.
Yes.
And now, if everybody remembers, we were glowing about last Sunday's show. Well, this was last Sunday's show times 10.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Unbelievable. And I was on my feet from the moment those doors opened at 10 o'clock until I got home, which was probably around 5-ish, 5:30.
Yeah. I said to Matt yesterday, I'm like, I think I might need to pull out the old camera mat that I used to do when I did camera work. I had like a yoga mat that I'd put underneath where I would be standing. So if I'm standing on cement, to save my legs, because I'm gonna have to be standing up this long now with how busy these shows have been, it's gonna get painful quick.
It was good. I'm just tired. I'm white. Today I was like falling asleep before recording the show at 11 a.m. I'm like dozing off watching TV a little bit. And it's you're tired because you're doing you're packing, you're unpacking, you're packing again, you're bringing everything back in. You're talking, it's mental too, because you are talking to tons of different people all day. And it can be mentally exhausting. Like, honestly, today, a part of me is just like, I don't want to talk. I'm like, I'm talked out, right? But yeah, it was unbelievably packed. There was a line stretching around the building. It was unbelievable. There was a point where in front of my table, people couldn't move. People could not move.
And I think, I don't know. To me, it's like
it's a good complaint to have, though.
It's a good complaint to have, but it's also, I don't know if it's, the design of the floor plan or something seems like it could be a little bit more streamlined.
Mark,
make it a little less.
You go talk to Andrew about that.
No. It's just I think
it's pretty good. It's
like I was walking with Rocky to show Rocky where you were, and it was so packed with people that we literally like escaped through the bar to get around the stage area. And that stage area is, I think, what causes the a bottleneck kind of, because everyone kind of like gets stuck in that little open area. So it's not like a bad thing. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh man,
just a lot of people.
Scott has the same thing at his show of like, it's that the thing of, and it happens at Plainville, happens at all these shows that have comic boxes, when the guys put them on the ground.
Yeah.
They get these guys that
They're
usually
hunched.
aren't the slimmest people in the world,
No.
out on their knees, blocking the whole hallway of the floor
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Where I think that's like the thing I'm talking about. Like the floor plan of it could be like, hey guys, don't put your boxes on the floor. If you don't have room on your table, then don't put boxes on the floor, because
Well,
you can't have people blocking the whole hallway to look through boxes for hours.
unfortunately, you would have an uprising because that would never happen. But
It's ridiculous.
as
a customer, it's annoying because it's like, dude, you don't own the whole floor. You know, these guys like spread out. They have like books that they're buying on the floor. They're next to the. It's annoying. It's one of my pet peeves about going to the show.
Well, I mean, listen, like I said, it's a good problem to have. I've heard, like, I saw a lot of people from the last Andrew Manchester show.
Yeah, no, yeah, there was tons of people.
And man, it was killer. It was a really killer show. We're set up to the next one in June.
July.
Oh, is it July?
Yes, July 23rd.
Oh God, I hope I put that on my calendar right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is July 23rd. I'm out of it. And I think
if you show up in June, no, it'll be there.
Yeah, Scott's show hasn't been announced, so I'm not going to say that. But
yes,
Scott will have a summer one once we have the official.
That's what
word.
you were thinking of. Yes, it's around that same time frame.
Yeah, but the next one's going to be July 23rd. It's a Sunday. It's a second to last Sunday of July.
Yeah.
But man, turnout was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's the weekend before Terrificon.
And if I remember correctly, the last one was, I think, Terrificon might have been going on. I think.
No, it was the weekend, the same thing. It was the weekend before Terrificon.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? The weekend that Big E was going on was with Andrew's last show.
Yeah, September.
Which was still a decent turnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Big E was ending that weekend.
Yeah, we were far enough away from there in Manchester where it's not as crazy. Whereas if we do something in Enfield, there'd be no chance of anyone showing up because I'll be at the Big E.
Right. But man, it was great. It was a great time.
It was crazy from the time we got there around 9:30, because Matt and I were like, we don't need to be there. There's no real early bird situation. So
thank God.
Yeah. He was like, so we could roll it and we knew where like our table is usually right by that door. So we're like, we don't need to fight to get in or anything. Ended up being right in front of the door, so that made it even easier. And then we from the time the doors opened at 10, Matt didn't get up and look around at all till at least 2-ish.
Yeah.
Like after literally he was doing caricatures up until Andrew was announcing the start of the cosplay competition.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, that's it, I'm done. Like my hand is cramping. I can't. Like he didn't get to do any work that he was planning on doing while he was there.
Oh yeah. The cosplay contest was really good. A lot of people showed up for that.
Even the bartender was in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I went to go find a fork because they brought us lunch. We got lunch and they didn't give us forks.
What else is new?
And the fork I did end up having had broke instantly when I went to use it. So I went to go into the bar to find a fork, and they're like, "Oh, the bartender's out doing the cosplay competition." I was like, "Great!" So I had to eat my lunch with a broken fork.
You gotta stop ordering places where they give you no forks or broken forks.
It seems to be that I don't know if it's the places that are not giving the forks, or it's the delivery people that are not.
If you get takeout, you should be automatically given a fork. Considering that you might be eating this not at home.
Especially if you're
ask.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things. But yeah, so besides that, it was crazy. Matt and I were talking on the way home. We stopped at Ollie's after the show because it's right around the corner. And we were like, oh, let's see if we can find anything there. There was nothing really new or crazy. But there was 2 guys there that were looking at the comics as well. And we mentioned the show to them and they had never heard about it. And they're like, what? So Matt like gave him the information for the next one, gave him the Facebook. We gave him the Facebook for CliffsCon, gave him the Facebook for Scott Show. So he kind of like went through like here's all this stuff going on. You can catch up and keep track.
Yeah.
So
A
that was
lot,
funny.
lot of new people too.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
asked a lot of folks where they heard it from, and just like Scott Show last Sunday, a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. Finally getting some fresh blood. Not the
Well, I'm
same
trying to get
old,
up to
same
us
old.
promoting it on this show, is what it is. People are watching us and hearing about it, and then they're
Yeah.
wanting to go check it out. That's
I
why
agree. Yeah, it's
I'm
all
trying to
us.
get up to that. It's all on us. Without us, these shows would have nothing.
Nothing, I say.
Nothing. They'd be dead.
Nothing.
They'd be ghost towns.
Ghost Town
Tumbleweeds rolling through
USA.
the aisles.
But man, yeah, fantastic show. I hope to see everybody again in July.
Yeah.
And
Good time.
I'm gonna completely get new stuff for the July show. I figure the stuff that hasn't sold by now, when it comes to my toys and stuff, it's just not gonna sell. So I gotta turn it over and get some new go
Maybe
through my
eBay
stuff
that
again.
stuff and then
eBay, or keep it myself, or
Yeah.
if I don't want it, just drop it off of Goodwill at this point.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Or if you have one of those tag sales come springtime,
we might.
that's when that stuff seems to disappear quickly.
Yeah, if you do really cheap, it will disappear quickly.
Yeah.
But anywho, Marcus, other than that, how was your week? Did you watch anything worthy to mention on the show?
The big thing that I watched was, I don't know if you knew about this on Saturday. I talked to Matt about it yesterday. Chris Rock did a live comedy special on Netflix on Saturday night.
Oh no, I heard about it.
The first live event on Netflix.
Oh, it was live.
Yeah, like completely live, like done completely live. Like they had like a pre-show and a post-show. Like
Wow.
Leslie Jones did a set before the show and everything, and the whole big thing. But yeah, so I more was like watching it for that aspect of it. I'm like, wow, let's see Netflix doing their first live thing. That's pretty crazy. And then Chris Rock's hilarious. So I wanted to hear his comedy, and then wanted to know if he was going to touch on the incident from last year.
I read that he did.
Yeah. He did. He put Will Smith in his place. It was just.
I guess from what I read, it was just basically him saying he's not a victim. You'll never see him crying about this.
Yeah.
And it hurt, like he said, it hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He said that, like, there's a reason why Will Smith is shirtless in movies,
and I don't take my shirt off ever.
Yeah.
I did a whole like part of it saying it's like, I bet you if he was like Jason Momoa said that joke, Will Smith wouldn't have come up and done anything. But this is me, a little tiny guy. He was more than happy to come up and try to start something.
Right.
And then he ended it with like, my parents, I was raised right, and my parents told me you don't fight in front of white people. And he just dropped the mic and walked away. I was like, oh man. So
wow.
But yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was a really good show. The after show was very interesting. They had Dave Spade and Dana Carvey hosting it.
Mm-hmm.
They were very interesting. But it was kind of crazy just to think about Netflix now doing live comedy specials.
Well,
it could open up a whole new thing that people could be doing. So
yeah, but I mean, Netflix has been shitting out comedy specials like on the daily. Like
they're like that new HBO for that. They're like
everybody
has more comedy specials than Comedy Central does at this point.
And I really honestly believe that doing a live event, especially with a big name like Chris Rock, makes a lot of sense because it makes it an event.
Yeah.
When you just drop a comedy special every week, it becomes not special anymore.
No,
it's not a special. It's just some guy has another special out.
Yeah. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was talking with Matt about it. It made so much more sense why they've been shooting out these comedy specials. It's like I'm realizing they were doing that because they've been practicing shooting comedy and the style of it and how to shoot it and produce it and everything in preparation for doing something like this. It's like you don't just like show up day of and decide to produce a live event.
Well, I mean, needless to say, I think Netflix, even though it's not my go-to app anymore, it does have the most versatile selection. You have comedy, you have documentary, you have TV shows, you have movies, where a lot of these new streaming services don't have such a wide range of content. And I mean, that's what Netflix does well. I think they give you a little bit of that. You like anime? We got anime. You like old 80s sitcoms? We got that. Like, they got it all.
They got everything.
But I think doing a live events would definitely help these, make things more of an event, become that place you want to go to a lot. A live events are
when you
fun
have
to watch.
like the Peacocks and the other channels,
they're all doing a live event.
They're all doing live sports events that they're like simulcasting on their streaming services.
Right.
So if you're Netflix and you now are able to prove you can do live television too, it's a selling point for some things that you can possibly bid on that have TV contracts coming up,
Yeah, I had no idea, honestly. I mean, I canceled Netflix last a week ago. I'll get it again once Umbrella Academy season 4 comes out, because then I plan on watching the whole thing. But I'm wasting my money with Netflix currently, because I'm giving them $15 a month and I'm not watching it. So I canceled them. I'll go back to them eventually, but I have there's nothing on there for me right now.
No, I did that with Paramount Plus. I got rid of that. Drop that. There's nothing on there that I want to watch. So
I mean, that's what's great about these things. You don't have to have them forever.
But no, I just watched the Formula One Drive to Survive documentary from last season. Came out before the beginning of this season this past weekend. So I went through that 8 to 10 episodes, I think it is. And that's amazing. So
what's that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. They did a really good job with that. But
anything else?
That's about it. It's just been a regular, nothing crazy kind of week. Just kind of
It's been a busy week, Mark. I didn't watch Mandalorian until this morning. I pulled a you. I was excited for Mandalorian, but just life, too much stuff happening this week. We'll talk about Mandalorian in a minute, but
yes, we will. I'd forgotten all about it because it was Wednesday. So
you haven't watched it?
I did watch it, but I watched it Wednesday, so that's why I hadn't thought about it. The intro, I didn't say we're going to talk about it because I didn't. It's been so long. I talked with Matt about it yesterday, so I thought I've already talked about it.
Allison and me, we have gotten into season 4 of Buffy, which they're in college, which we love. We started Angel. Angel's pretty good, but it's very funny.
Now we know why you're not watching The Mandalorian. You're deep in the Buffy world. Universe.
We no joke, on Friday we watched 8 episodes of Buffy.
Oh my gosh.
We watched 4 in the afternoon and then 4 at night.
You maniac.
I know. Angel is like the original Daredevil show. No joke. This show is literally the Daredevil before Daredevil show. There are some very funny moments. Episode 2, you'll appreciate this gag. It was so good, and I love the sense of humor. Angel is with one of these cops that is now going to be part of the group, the inside person of the police, the LAPD, and he takes out a grappling gun. And she goes, "How are we going to get out of here?" And there's a window way up in the skylight, and he takes the grappling gun, and for shot, they do the Batman '89. He shoots it, you see the grapple gun wrap around the a post up in the thing, and she's like, "Who are you?" That is literally '89 Kim Basinger, Michael Keaton. Shoots the grappling gun. She goes, "Who are you?" Shoots it up there, and then when he goes, "How much do you weigh?" This happened in Batman because you need to know how much weight he could lift which was a really funny moment in Batman 89.
Yeah.
So Angel does this, and I was like, holy shit, it's Batman. He does it, and he goes, and the post just breaks and crumbles down, and she's just like, what the heck? It was so funny how they were pulling on the trope of Batman.
Yeah. It was even funnier 30 years ago when it was actually around the time of the movie coming out, when it was actually a decent reference to do.
I got it right away.
Well, I know you did.
Great. I thought it was great. But it's a fun show. It's not as good as Buffy, but
the only thing to make it better is if Michael Keaton showed up, and then you'd be all about it. You just love it.
Dude, Michael Keaton showed up in Angel? Wow.
Man.
Mind blown. But anyway, yeah, like we're loving it.
Michael Keaton solves everything. We're gonna make posters. We're gonna make bumper stickers.
You're obsessed with this.
Michael Keaton saves.
Michael Keaton saves. Why? Why do you hate Michael Keaton so much?
I don't hate Michael Keaton. I just think it's hilarious how you think that Michael Keaton can magically make you forget about everything that you disliked about a movie just because he's going to be in it.
All right. Well, maybe we should talk about this more. We should talk about me and Rocky talk about this a lot. This is a conversation me and Rocky privately have conversations about. Because I think my personal opinion is this. Okay, and you can have your opinion, and I'm not going to say you're wrong or right. I don't want you to think I'm wrong or right. This is how I see things over time. This is how I've grown to see things. If obviously there are artists that are in our lives that we enjoy, and their past might not be that great, but we still enjoy them. Okay, we're far removed from those things, and these artists might be dead. These artists might have had their prime before we were even born. Then there's artists now that we're adults that we grew up with, and you find out they're shitty people, or something comes out and it's really horrible. Then I think personally, on a personal, you, me, and everybody out there, we consume art. We have to make a decision. Do we support this person even though we found out something really horrible, or do we reject that person? And I think it's a personal thing. I do. I've had a lot of people I really love fall from grace, and I rejected them. I think the biggest heartbreak for me was Louis C.K. Huge fan of his show, huge fan of his comedy. And when I found out that information, what he did, I really have a hard time listening to his stuff. It breaks my heart because his show, I loved his show on FX. I reject him now. I just can't get into his comedy because I just think he hasn't come out and publicly apologized for what he did. And I believe in redemption for everybody. I do. I really do. I feel people can change and be better, but they have to prove it with words. They can't just ignore it. Now, that's me. That's my personal take on things. The beginning of this year, another personal favorite, someone I love in comedy and art and animation, is Justin Roiland. I was a huge Rick and Morty fan. Solar Opposites, I love. I love his video games. Squanch Games have put out some really funny games. High in Life just came out this Christmas, and I loved it. Allegations came out with him, and I was completely devastating. And me and Rocky have been talking about this in our own private chat because we're both big fans of his. And I was like, it's heartbreaking. I can't listen to his voice because I just think about these horrible things now. So I reject him. And now Rick and Morty will go on with another voice actor, and I'm fine with that. But I just right now, I can't watch or hear at his voice. I just don't want to. I just don't like it. I was a big fan of his. Now, that's me. That's personal. I mean, someone else could just be like, I don't care, whatever. And I'm not going to judge anybody who will continue to watch Rick and Morty in the past, or anybody who likes Louis C.K. still. That's fine. That's up to you. And I don't want to pass judgment because I think it's all up to the individual. Yes, I railed against Ezra Miller. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan of him. I've known him for one role in The Flash. He wasn't. as an actor, I think he's okay. As I'm not a Flash fan. So
He's ho hum. He's not even.
He's ho hum.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So on a personal level, I did rail against this because I think what he did was horrible. Now I know he's in rehab and he's been found guilty twice.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. I will say this much. I was talking to Rock about this yesterday. I will say this. Yes, I am conflicted. Yes, Michael Keaton seen that trailer and they really put Michael Keaton forefront because they know what they're doing.
No, they know what they're doing. They're selling the movie off Michael Keaton, not selling the movie on Ezra Miller at this point. Totally
agree with that statement. And as someone who really is looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton on the big screen one last time as Batman, this is, as Matt Ryan said, Warner Brothers is putting the onus on the customer, on us, the fans, to be conflicted about do I see this or not see this.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, yes, I don't think Ezra Miller is a good person. Do I think he could redeem himself in the future? Sure. Do I think he deserves a career in the future? Sure. I also, my same brain is it says this though. Ezra Miller, to me, almost feels like he's still. There's still. Let me rewind. If this movie comes out and does very well, which I think it will because of Michael Keaton, I hope.
Does he continue as a Flash?
The rumor is they're starting fresh. I mean, James Gunn has said they're recasting everybody. So now I will say this. This is you can place money on this, Mark. You can bring this up if I change my mind, but this is how I see things. I am interested in seeing this movie, but if this movie comes out and does well, and the powers that be at Warner Brothers are like, we're keeping Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, no. I don't believe because we have to go back to the Me Too movement. What was that for if Ezra Miller gets away and is rewarded for bad behavior? He hasn't redeemed himself yet. Yeah, he's in rehab, but why shouldn't you go to rehab for grooming a 18-year-old? I didn't know there's a rehab for that. Now he might have drug problems. He might be an alcoholic. I don't know. But some of his actions, to me, just seemed a little weird. Now, do I feel like he could be a better person if he apologizes and he goes through the system and he's been found guilty, I believe, on twice, both accounts so far, or one? Maybe in 10 years. But I'm not a fan of his. So it doesn't really, like, I feel for the victims. Now, I also feel for the victims that if Warner Brothers are like, Ezra Miller is going to stay, I feel for the victims, and I would be really upset with the Warner Brothers. I think that would be horrible. So yes, Mark, you're not wrong to say what you say. I think it's a personal thing, and for me, my brain has a lot of thoughts. It's like, well, this movie was made a long time ago. Yes, I don't see Warner Brothers throwing this movie out because it probably cost them a lot of money, and they are saying it's a very good movie. I don't want to reward Ezra Miller. But I want to see Michael Keaton because I know this is probably the one and only time I'll see Michael Keaton on the big screen as Batman again.
So I've seen him twice.
Twice.
He was in the Batgirl movie.
Yeah, but that movie was thrown out, so we'll never see that. Yeah.
Which is what my argument of the whole thing is you had a movie that had him in it. You wouldn't have had any issues. You had Brendan Fraser playing Firefly. He was going to be the villain.
He's the villain, yeah.
So you could have had a whole movie.
Well,
never had this problem.
Did you listen to the Brendan Fraser interview when he was on Howard Stern when he talked about this? Now, Brendan Fraser did say the movie, when showed to the executives, it was not final cut.
No,
it was. He goes, any movie you see in a screening like that, it is
Yeah.
not Final Cut movie. And he
Yeah.
goes, they base their opinion off that. And he
Yeah.
goes, it's a shame because he goes,
Yeah.
I think there was a good movie in there.
There was a good movie in there. He said, like,
Well,
there's a good
I
movie
mean,
in there. It would have just needed some reshoots and a couple of things.
we're
make
we're
it,
going
yeah.
off going off what Brendan Fraser said, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I don't know.
It's very strange to me that they're basing, but almost hinging the future of the DC universe.
No, well, this movie ends it though. See, the
Well,
thing
it
is,
like resets it, but it's like
yes,
they're resetting their universe off this movie.
they're
When
giving
they could
closure.
just not even done it, and just
I know.
set the universe.
Marcus, I don't know why people do what they do. I agree.
It's just a very interesting choice. That's all I'm saying. That
So
they're
now let's go back
that's
to what
my
I
thing
said.
is they had the choice of going with this movie, a political and like not even political, but just like
That's not political.
a cultural issues. It has issues. This movie. It's a very hot button movie.
We have a toxic lead actor.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
So you have that, or you could have had the Batgirl movie, where you could have just worked on a little bit, finished it up, put it out, had no issues.
Mark, I know. Yeah.
And just reset without any issues.
I know.
But now you're gonna have to promote this movie somehow.
It's gonna be Michael Keaton promoting it. Is what
I know, but then it's like, do those people that are in the movie want to promote it and promote that they're in the movie with this guy? That's the thing that I'm coming around to. It's like,
we're going to see how this all plays out,
and not have anyone bring up what the lead actor has done.
I don't
How
think
does that come up in every interview?
It's not, unless they're talking to Ezra Miller themselves. Nobody's going to bring that up because it's.
You don't think anyone's going to bring up, hey, did you notice anything while you're on set? Did you see?
No, because this movie was done, Mark, before everything happened, before he went crazy.
I know, but that doesn't matter. People still aren't, like, reporters aren't going to be like, oh, well, we understand that it was shot before that. You think reporters aren't going to be like, did you see anything that would have led you to believe that he would be this kind of person?
I will say this. They're not reporters. They're going to be late night talk show hosts. They're not there to talk to Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert. They're not going to ask hard hitting questions here. It's going to be like, how's going to be being Batman again? And that's the questions they're going to ask.
It's going to be a very interesting way to promote it. That's all I'm going to say.
Ezra Miller is not going to be on one talk show.
No, I know that. I know that.
He's the one that's going to get the hard hitting questions.
We're going to do a premiere for this movie without the lead actor.
I bet. It's
going to be very interesting to see how they handle this weird football they have right now.
When that trailer dropped at Super Bowl on the Batman Reddit board, and now this is anecdotal evidence. This is just a small little snippet of what I saw. A lot of people were excited, but everybody, it would all say, I'm hyped for Michael Keaton, but Miller is a garbage person. That was a sentiment everybody was saying. And I think a lot of people who are in the know.
That's just my thing about it. It's just it's like, we've talked about this before. You were dead set against this movie.
Yeah, but I just explained to you.
From the jump. No, I'm just saying. So that's the thing that's very interesting to me, is to see after just one trailer where they just showed Michael Keaton for 10 seconds.
Well, they showed him more than 10. It was a good trailer.
Whatever. Sort of for like 20 seconds, maybe. Whatever it was.
It was a good trailer, though.
But just that alone has flipped so many people's opinions on this movie.
That's how much Michael Keaton as Batman means a lot to a lot of people. We grew up with that. That was our first Batman.
He only did 2 movies. It's not like he was like in like the universe for very long.
Mark, Michael Keaton was the first live action Batman that was.
I understand that. But it astonishes me that
that was when Christian Bale was Batman. The biggest question was, who was your favorite Batman? I mean, his Batman is still in the zeitgeist.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's like, if you think about it though, it's like the amount of people the audience that had that as their Batman, which would be our age group.
our movie going audience. It's a huge part that goes.
But there's
to the
a lot of
movies.
people behind us that weren't as attached to Michael Keaton as Batman, that don't like have that. So it's very interesting to me that's going to be like, it's going to be interesting to see. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be very interesting to see how this movie is promoted and how the launch is handled and how it's handled in the bigger news media.
You're not wrong. I'm interested to see how it's handled as well. I'm really, really interested.
Now, I know what you're saying about late nights aren't going to be like, oh no, but there's going to be some people when they do these junkets or like the things they do where they set these, like the cast is sat down in a room and they have the projector screen, or they just do like the treadmill of reporters that come in and get their whatever amount of time and off they go.
Oh, they're not going to be asking Michael Keaton about Ezra Miller. It's gonna. I can bet money that there's going to be at least one person that's going to bring it up, and that won't be aired. I bet you they're not
going to get out somewhere.
Michael Keaton is not going to be talking about Ezra Miller's personal life.
No,
how would he know it? How would he know it? They're going to ask about the movie.
Yeah, it's just a very interesting.
I can bet money Ezra Miller will not be on the tours at all. It's going to be Michael Keaton. It's going to be the girl who's going to play Supergirl.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there promoting the movie. Ben Affleck probably. And if Ezra Miller's brought up, that's going to be pushed aside because this movie was filmed prior to his downfall.
It'll just be interesting to see, like, just at all the promotionals for this movie. Like, is he going to be on posters? Is he going to be,
I don't know,
like featured on any billboards for the movie? Like, it's called The Flash, and you're going to have to promote the Flash movie without putting the Flash on anything.
Yeah, kind of.
It's very, very weird. When you could have called the movie Flashpoint, which easily thing to change, just change the promo logo for the movie. Instead of calling it The Flash, you could easily just say we're calling it Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And
now, I mean,
all your problems are solved. That's my thing about it. It's like there's so many things DC could have done to make it easier on themselves, and they just keep like tripping over themselves as they get to this point with stuff.
Well, I mean, are they? Because people are hyped for this movie because of Michael Keaton, so they're not really tripping over themselves right now.
No, but I mean, with all the
they've done a good job getting us hyped for it.
You could have put the Batgirl movie out instead of the Flash movie. You could have done this. You couldn't have said that this movie is the thing that's going to reset our universe. You could have done so many different things. That's what I'm saying. You could have, like James Gunn made a big point about it in his big video speech about this movie and how it's going to make the universe like reset, and we're hinging like kind of everything's coming off this movie. So,
well, I mean, they're doing it nonetheless. The movie is
I know it's just
going to make money.
It's going to be.
Like I said, I will be more upset is if this movie does well, which it will, but if Ezra Miller somehow keeps his job, then I'm going to be like, okay, so what were the consequences here for his actions? I will be upset then because I don't want to see him after this movie. I don't want to see him again. No. Personally, I don't. I'm in it for Michael Keaton, and I'm in it for that. And I'm not in it for him. And
Batman again. That's what you really want.
I mean, to see them two together would be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Batfleck.
Like I said before, Mark, we all consume media from artists and people who have done shitty things. Yeah. And it's I think it's a personal choice to make that decision. So if you don't want to see Flash, don't see it. And do what you want, what you feel is best. I think we all do that. We all have to make the decision. And I don't want to judge anybody for liking something.
I just think it'd be interesting. For me, it's also interesting, not anything to do with all the Flash stuff and all the Ezra Miller stuff. It's going to be interesting to me to see if this is actually a good movie.
I'm interested too because they're hyped. They keep saying it's really good,
but it's DC really good. I don't know if it's like,
I don't know. Is it bullshit to
like
get people
they
to go?
Really said
I don't know.
I don't know if you remember, but they said Wonder Woman 84 was really good, and how well that turned out.
I don't remember anybody saying that was really good.
DC really like hyped it like it was a big thing.
Well, it wasn't good at
all. Yeah, it wasn't good at all. So we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see.
That movie was so bad. Wonder Woman 84 that it cost her a job doing Star Wars?
No, because she was still on the. She's still doing Squadron. I don't think
Canceled.
I thought it was still on the docket. She said.
Nope.
She said the rumors weren't true.
No, last I heard it was canceled.
Well, I don't. I'm on a loop, Marcus. Maybe you know more than me. But needless to say, this is where we are. We'll see how this all plays out as we get closer. You know, could be good, could be shit. We'll find out. I'm interested too. You raise good questions, Marcus.
Here you go, really quickly. Ultimately, after months of development, Star Wars Rogue Squadron was removed from the Disney release schedule earlier this year. President of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, has also confirmed that Rogue Squadron has been pushed off to the side.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which means they like kept getting scripts from her and they were all bad. So they're just like, yeah, we're not doing this.
Yeah, something.
It's good in idea, but not in function.
Maybe she was gonna have Chris Pine come back to life again.
Maybe. She likes that Chris Pine.
Just like, I got another movie for Wonder Woman. So Chris Pine's character yet again is gonna possess another body, right? And he's gonna come back. I mean, it was basically
the dumbest thing to kill him in the first movie, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Hangover 2. It's like we're just gonna
why
do
did you
the
have to
same
kill him
movie.
off? You could have just left him alive.
Yeah.
Or frozen in ice, like.
But it ruined.
It
kind of ruined his death. I mean, he died.
Yeah, it kind of made the whole first movie useless.
Yeah, kind of.
Besides the fact that they had like some, bank teller playing Ares, but that's here nor there.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not go down this road. Anyway, I'm glad we can discuss this. I mean, I'm sure there's artists you like that have done bad things. There's artists I've liked that in the past have done shitty things.
Michael Jackson.
I stopped listening to his music. I can't listen, but I can listen.
I mean, if it comes on the radio, I'm not going to be like, oh, I got to change the channel.
No, but I can listen to Jackson 5 stuff, right? Because he was a kid. But I have a hard time with adult Michael Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
I still listen to Elvis's Christmas album. Now, I hate to say it, he was 27 years old, marrying a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
That's groomer shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if an artist today did that, they would be
it wouldn't
gone.
happen today.
But it has. And they're I mean, look
but not
at Dane Cook. He basically groomed and married an 18-year-old, and he's like in his 50s.
Yeah, well,
there you go. I mean,
how far has his career been since
exactly
10 years ago?
But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Chris Rock does a whole part about this in his latest special about like the Michael Jackson stuff. And he's like, you could tell, like, he kind of says the same thing you were like, not the same thing you were saying, but kind of like, he's like, artists who have more talent get more leeway.
Yeah.
He's like, there's if you're at a party and they play, Pretty Young Thing, you're not going to say anything about it. You're just going to bop along to the music. But if R. Kelly comes on, you're going to be like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's true. The bigger the artist, though. I mean, Michael Jackson got away with a lot. I mean,
Jerry Lee Lewis definitely, literally married his cousin.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit these people and we put them on a pedestal because they're very talented and they make great art. And I'm not questioning that.
I mean, hell, we voted one president.
What? Who?
We voted someone president who was.
Oh, well, they were a horrible person the whole time.
Yeah, they still need the president. So there you go. That shows how much that stuff's important to people.
I'm just saying, like, when an artist that we really admire or we don't know their personal lives.
Yeah.
And then it comes, it's devastating. So I think it's a personal choice. I think it's a personal choice. We all make those choices. Well, we should talk about Mandalorian because it's fresh in my mind.
Let's do Mandalorian for last since it was the first episode.
Okay. Last of Us, intense episode. One of my I was telling you, Mark, last week, these last 2 episodes are going to be a whirlwind. And this one, they did a fantastic job in my book for what they accomplished. The next
But
episode,
they didn't do the time jump in this one like they did in the, or was that from like in the video game? Did they say it's like 6 months later?
They did that already. They already
The
did
last
that
episode before the mall part.
when Sam, the Sam and Henry episode, the one after that, it literally said 6 months later, literally on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was 6 months after he got stabbed that was a time jump.
No,
Oh, okay. That's where I got confused.
Like literally,
In the video game I'm talking about, not in the show.
No, he wasn't laying there for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
No, this is it's what happened.
Okay.
I mean, it was a couple days he was laying there, and she was trying to get him back to health.
Okay.
But yeah, they did a great job. It was fantastic. Obviously you get to see the violent side of Ellie. She needs to either, and you see Joel. They're both kind of in this flight or die scenario. Either you're gonna have to kill or be killed. I mean, this is an interesting peak. We meet a colony. We meet this little pocket of people.
Yeah.
And they're out for vengeance because of what Joel and Ellie did to someone, which we saw when Joel got stabbed. But they're getting their side of the story.
Yeah.
That someone got killed because of a crazy guy and his daughter and a little girl. And clearly there's 2 sides to every story.
Exactly.
But because this preacher.
Well, not really. He's a teacher who.
Yes. But he's a preacher
turned himself
now.
Into a cult leader.
He found God. And we find out, there's a body they can't bury because they're eating it.
The ground's too cold.
Well, they're eating it. And he eats people.
Yes.
And he is not telling people when someone dies, they cook them up.
Yeah.
And not many people know this in his flock. Yeah. And you notice everybody's eating very small portions, and he's got a huge heaping portion.
Yeah.
And he keeps them in control because of their hunger.
Yes.
And he's very manipulative.
And their fear.
He's abusive.
Yeah.
So.
And we get 2 Joels this episode.
We got Troy Baker gets to play the goon, and it was fantastic.
Stabbed with a cleaver.
Yeah. And he did a fantastic job. I know this next episode, Ashley Johnson
shows up.
will be making a cameo, who plays Ellie in the game.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a great job. It's funny because I played this game a few times now, and I was just like, oh my God, I recognize that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job.
Now in the game, just going back to how I like to go over this, the game, the ending of that episode is not the same as the game, correct? Like, doesn't Joel come in at all? Or does Joel come in to save her, or she just do it herself?
She does it herself. You're actually playing as Ellie during that whole scene.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You fight David. You fight him as Ellie.
Yeah.
Joel shows up after.
Yeah.
She just goes ape shit and stabs the hell out of him. Joel actually enters the building and takes her out.
Oh, okay.
This one, she leaves the building because it makes more sense. It's on fire.
Yeah. Why would you go into a burning building?
Yeah, and then why would she just hang around? She'd be like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But in the game, Joel does not save her at all. It is Ellie who has to save herself.
Yeah.
They did that whole scene where they're hugging, and he actually calls her baby girl, which gets me every time. It's what he called his daughter, and it still gives me chills. It's that's the moment, for both of them. Her violence comes out, and his love for her, like a daughter, comes out in these, and you see violence and love all in the same scene. And he
realizes too, I think, that it showed that like he being injured and having to just lay there and have her take care of him, like I think finally like took the last wall down for him. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, this girl saved my life. I need to protect her at all costs, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, she
Like
didn't
that
leave him.
last little bit of chisel knocked the wall down, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
You could have just left him and he could have just died and she could have just done whatever she wanted.
Well, if when he said leave and go to Tommy, he would have
Yeah.
just died. He would have
Yeah.
died there. But she stuck around and she helped him.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a great episode. This final episode, I'm wondering how long it's going to be because
It's got a lot of ground to cover.
a lot of stuff happens in this final episode. I mean, I was really unsure if they were going to do this whole bit in one episode. They did it in like under an hour, and it felt fine to me. So they could pull it off. This final episode is going to be great. But it was great watching with Allison, who's never played the game, knows nothing. And she was just like on the edge of her seat the whole time. And she was so happy, you know, like when they embraced, and it was great to see it with someone with fresh eyes. So yeah, next week be prepared. And this is like these two episodes is a little precursor of what you will experience in the next season. It gets, you think this is good, it's gonna it turns up the heat to 11 the next season. So I mean, I really loved it. Yet again, I still love the show. It's my favorite show.
Like 2 seasons, right? Because aren't they saying they're gonna split the second one into 2 seasons?
Yeah, probably. That's my guess as of now. That's what they mentioned on the podcast, that there's enough content they could split it into 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, the second game's a very long game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new characters and there's a lot of storytelling. So yeah. But man, I mean, I mean, I just loved it. I just loved it.
Are you liking the subtle changes they're making to the show? Like I watched the after the episode thing where they talk about how Ellie's he says something to Ellie about your heart is full of violence like mine is, and that's not in the game.
It's not in the game because they didn't know where they were going to go with but like I said, it's a great, they can do a little bit more foreshadowing. And they're doing a great job world building in the show because now they can, because they know where they're going in season 2. Where when they were making the game, they didn't know where they were going to go. So, there's foreshadowing, and I think it's great for the show. I think they're good world building. It's good fun little Easter eggs for fans, even non-fans. They're saying something. They're saying there's something there to watch out. So, and you saw she snapped. And it was, like I said, it's either be killed or killed. I mean, come on, this is the world they live in. I mean, he was going to rape her. I mean, basically, that's what he was going to do if she didn't do anything. So,
which is, I mean, the house is the place is on fire. So that's.
But he was psycho. He's psycho.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is like governor type stuff.
And I have to say,
he definitely like it was so weird. I have noticed watching this show. Stuff from the Walking Dead show back when I watched it. You can kind of see like the little, like, not nods, but like little influences here and there. Like this character, David, definitely has like a governor vibe to him a little bit. Like
more grounded, more realistic.
Exactly.
Like
in like the way he talks to his people. And the way he like talked to her and stuff like that. He's like, oh man, I was like, wow, I could almost see like where that reference point came from for the guy who was writing the game. It's like, oh, I like kind of want a governor type character, but more of a grounded in real life kind of thing.
I mean, this is more, based in reality.
Yeah.
Where The Walking Dead's a little out there, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely look for similarities if you
A
want
creepy
to.
culty kind of guy.
Yeah, and
that like just absorbs people.
but like, yeah, it's
like the scene alone where like they're having the dinner and he comes back with the deer and he's like, oh, I'll send people out in the morning, and that girl whose dad passed like chimes up, you should kill both of them, and he just walks over and just swats her in the face.
Yeah,
it's like, holy crap, they're going for it in this show.
Yeah, he's putting them in their place. Like,
yeah,
nobody's telling
then he
him
just
what
says
to
like,
do.
you still have a dad, and he just sits down at the table with them.
Yeah,
like, this is so creepy. It's so creepy. I like it. I feel like I need a shower.
Yeah, he is their dad. That's his flock, like he said.
Yeah. Well, like, he's like, it was definitely him saying like, I'm now going to take over your dad's spot, and
yeah,
you're now my property.
Yeah, pretty much. And the fact that potentially they're eating her father,
yeah,
she doesn't know it. That's even more power.
Yeah,
like, I made you eat your dad.
Yeah,
you don't even know it.
Yeah,
and for all we know, they all could have been eating the dead body, and he's eating the venison from the deer.
Yeah,
because he had
sure. Yeah,
his bowl had way more food than everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like a power thing. He had like a power over all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's next episode is going to be insane.
Yeah, no, I saw a couple of like the preview thing for the next episode, and I already saw like some things that I remember from watching the rest of the game video. So I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be intense.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good.
See how they pull this all off. There's some stuff in the little clips thing that I don't remember from that. So I was like, oh man, how's that all gonna turn around?
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely change some stuff on us, like they have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I love watching it with Allison. I like to see her reaction. I got choked up. I think Bella Ramsey should be nominated for this episode alone. I thought her acting was unbelievable.
Oh, between this one and the last episode.
Yeah, was really fantastic.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal, of course, I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Funny. I'm gonna go back to Buffy because my life goes back to Buffy right now. Buffy goes to college. Second episode in, and guess who we see? Pedro Pascal as a college student, freshman year. He literally looks like him, but he hasn't grown into his features yet. So he's super thin, but his face has really like his facial features are bigger, and he's so thin.
Yeah.
It was great. I think it was
because it took place 30 years ago, Brian.
It's Pedro Pascal. Actually,
Pedro Pascal, episode 1 of Mandalorian came out on Wednesday, which you just happened to watch today.
23 years ago.
It's not any better. It's not like you're not helping yourself.
But it was cool to see him. This is like one of his first roles.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course,
everyone else saw it 23 years ago.
I didn't. Hey, I'm allowed. This is my show too. I can talk about my love of Buffy.
Sure. Go ahead.
It's awesome.
Tell us more about a show that happened 23 years ago.
All right. Next time you get into an old show, I'll do the same thing to you.
I don't come in here and like break down every episode.
I didn't break it down. I'm just telling you, I saw Pedro Pascal.
You went through a whole thing about Angel, like not even a half an hour ago.
But I'm just telling you how much I love it.
Okay.
All right. Anyways,
Pedro Pascal is also in The Mandalorian, which debuted season 3 on Wednesday, which Brian just watched this morning.
Yeah.
Because he was busy watching Buffy and Angel.
Yeah. And getting ready and de-Christmasifying my house.
Yes.
Doing a show.
In the middle of March, de-Christmasifying your house.
We leave Christmas decorations stay up all winter, my friend.
It's craziness.
Seems like a waste to decorate for only 25 days. Seems like a waste of time. You gotta enjoy. You gotta embrace.
Most of you take it down the day of Christmas.
And I listen to Christmas music while I take the shit down too.
God.
I did.
Oh boy.
I was saying goodbye to Christmas.
Okay. Anyway,
let's go on.
Mandalorian, episode 1 of season
Season
3.
3. It was a good start. I'll say that much.
It was a great start. Like, I literally thought at the beginning of the episode that it was a flashback to some other time. Because they were doing the thing with the kid in the water, like the christening or whatever. And I was like, is that Bo-Katan? Is that this person? Like, who? What story are we telling here?
Yeah.
And then the turtle shark alligator thing, whatever it was, comes out, and then all of a sudden Mando just flies in. I'm like, oh, we're in now time. Okay.
Yeah, who was that little kid?
Who is that little kid? Why was that an important thing?
Well, I don't know.
I have a feeling that's something we need to keep an eye on. Because they don't just throw things into this story without it meaning something.
No, I mean, this kid will come into play, or
yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, they showed that helmet a lot, so it's like, keep an eye for that helmet.
Like, keep an eye on this helmet. Remember this design because it's gonna come up again.
Yeah. What's that rule? What's that rule? If you see a gun in the first act, it's going to be used in the third.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw the helmet in the first act. We know he's going to come around near the end of the show.
Yeah, he'll show up somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably the heir of Mandalore or some crazy cockamamie thing or something.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Mark.
Okay.
So I'm watching this episode. In the very beginning, we get to see Mando and I almost called him Yaddle. Why did I call him Yaddle? Grogu.
Because you keep messing that up for some reason. Grogu.
Yeah, well, Yaddle. Yaddle was Yoda's brother. Yaddle. Who was Yaddle?
They weren't related at all. They were just another person of that species.
Gotcha. So Grogu, they're in the ship, and we get to see space
whales,
which is from
Rebels and Clone. Yeah, from that whole storyline.
Did you get excited by that?
I did. I was like, oh man, they're setting it up. We're getting there. We're gonna get Ezra. It's gonna happen.
We got space whales, Mark.
Space whales. Thrawn's coming.
It was cool. Even I knew the reference because I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool. For
those who don't know, in Rebels,
explain.
Cartoon show, the show basically, the major mystery at the end of the show before it ended was Ezra was fighting Admiral Thrawn. Before that, though, they had to use space whales to fly in the hyperspeed because space whales live in hyperspace. So they used the space whales to catch Thrawn's ship, if I'm remembering this correctly. And then Ezra is fighting Thrawn on his ship, and they punch the hyperspace, like extra hyperspace, to get launched to the far reaches of the galaxy. And that's how we lose Ezra from the show. And he takes Thrawn away instead of killing him. So we never see Thrawn die. That's the shtick of it, that somehow both of them are going to come back somehow. Or whatever is going to happen. But so that's like the next part of Rebels that they ended with is a couple of characters going off in search of Ezra. The two, Sabine and the Mandalorian, and the girl with the I can't remember her name now, Hera. So seeing the space whales was a little nod back to Clone Wars and Rebels, which are Dave Filoni shows. So that was a cool thing to see. And then also just the whole, like, seeing Grogu and the ship, and like Grogu pulling like a cat move and just like crawling down, and while he's sleeping, curling up a little ball on top of him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
And my favorite Grogu moments were he's on the spinning chair. He's making himself spin.
He's using the Force to push himself.
And then he sees a little, like, I'm gonna say M&M, but piece of candy or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a hot tamale. That's what I thought. Like
he has it come right.
Candies, the red.
He has it come right to him, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And
he didn't pass out from using the Force.
Well, it wasn't a lot. He wasn't.
No, but I remember
major
when he first was starting to use it. he couldn't even use it once without passing out.
Right.
Now he's able to do like multiple things and not. So it means he's being able to control the Force more, being more in tune with the Force.
Well, he did some training with Luke.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's just a progression of that. So that was the cool thing.
Right, totally.
It was cool to like we found out the Cara Dune situation, how they're gonna handle that. That she got assigned to Special Forces.
Was Ezra Miller.
She'll never be seen again. Yes. Her and
See,
Ezra
there you
Miller are
go.
now on Special Forces and
Special Forces.
in Coruscant somewhere doing something.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah. And so they try to recruit Grief tries to recruit Mando to be the marshal of the town. We see the Boba Frick, the Star Wars dozers.
This episode, okay, we had creatures from like every Star Wars movie show up.
Yeah, no, there was like the pet of Jabba the Hutts in the trees.
Yeah, like they're squirrels.
Like an Admiral Akbar walks by.
Yeah, well, yeah, one of a species of his.
I don't know what the names of the species are.
Me neither.
Someone will correct us and tell us in the chat or something or in the comments.
Yeah, and then we saw a bunch of service droids, C-3POs.
Yes, a lot of C-3POs.
Some had the same voice, some didn't. Some have variations of different faces.
Yeah, a lot of R2 units roaming around. Yeah,
and then we see Frick, the Fricks.
Yes, I call them the Star Wars. A lot of people have called them the Star Wars dozers. Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, I Bubba Frick.
Yeah.
Maybe the only good thing that came out of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Was Bubba Frick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
little droid masons or whatever, the droid builders or whatever. So
yeah, okay.
The whole part of that is they try to revive IG-11.
Yeah, well, here I got a question about this. Let's talk about IG-11 for a minute.
Yeah, which I knew there had to be something because at the very beginning of the episode, they do the recap.
And they showed him blowing up.
And they start with him blowing up. And I was like, well, that's got to mean something.
Yeah, but he blew up. How did they? Yeah, and like
if he had a thermal detonator inside his stomach,
so
how does his whole body still together?
Right,
with his head. And not all in pieces.
Because his head would blow up, and I knew I was like, okay, originally he was set to destroy, so like
self-destruct.
So when they turned him on, I had a hunch it wasn't going to be that easy.
Yeah,
I was like, and then I'm like, why is Mando so stuck on getting him back in action?
Because Mando knows he needs help.
But you could. There's other people in the galaxy.
And the only person that he knows that's still available.
No, he's not available though. He's dead.
Well, no, that could possibly be available. That can help and is extremely loyal to Grogu. It would do anything to not have anything happen to Grogu.
After
he can't call up Luke Skywalker and be like, "Hey, Luke, want to help me save Mandalore?"
I understand.
You can't So the only person that's available in the storylines is IG-11 basically.
And then IG-11, literally goes on a rampage.
It definitely was like one of those things where you could see like they literally just talked about Cara Dune, and they're like, "Oh, since we can't use Cara Dune's character, so we're gonna bring back someone who was dead. Since we gotta figure us out, who can we bring back that's not gonna cost us any money? Oh, we can just make IG-11 a thing again. Oh, okay, he's a droid. We can make another droid." So
now Mando has to
find a memory stick, basically.
Memory chip. Yes. But I'm overthinking
MacGuffin.
this.
It's the Star Wars MacGuffin.
But here's the thing: if it's a new memory chip, wouldn't it be a brand new droid then? At this point, how would he even know anything?
We'd transfer the memory from the old chip that's busted.
Yeah.
To the new chip.
We literally just saw him boot him up.
Well, they can they can pick and choose this stuff, the memories that they want to put into the new chip.
Oh, sort of like they did with C-3PO and Rise of Skywalker.
Exactly. Yeah.
They erased his memory though.
Yes. Yeah.
So my guess is if they do it, they're gonna erase his memory.
They'd reprogram him with the new chip. So he would have the memory of being like a protector of Grogu.
I guess.
Not the prime directive that he had of destroy.
See, this is where it gets a little over. You can't
That's where it
overthink.
gets Star Wars. You just got to just go with it.
I know.
That's what I say
I
now to
know,
people. It's Star Wars. It's about people in space fighting in ships that fly in space with glass covers, and no one has an oxygen tank on, but we all just assume it's fine. And the glass that looks really, really thin is not gonna break
Mark.
instantly
You
by a
don't have
rock
to
hitting
tell
it.
me. I get it. I get
And
it. I
it's
get it.
totally fine. We'll all just get through it. It'll be fine. Just let it go.
But yeah. So that's happening. But at the same time, Mando has another objective: the mines. He has to go into the mines.
He wants to go to the mines, and I think the thing with this is he wants to go to the mines and redeem himself because he took his
Yes.
helmet off.
Yes.
And in his cult version of Mandalore, which we found out only his group is that way.
Well, they're orthodox.
Other Mandalorians are fine with taking their helmets off, like Bo-Katan sitting around in a room without her helmet on all the time.
But they see it's a faction. They moved away from that. They said that's too old school for us. We want to do our own thing. And so he's from a very orthodox version of that
puritanical sect of the Mandalore.
It's religion. You have like one religion.
This is the way. This is a way religion.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So this is the wayisms, So he has to go back to Mandalore, go underneath the Hartford Civic Center, and find a bath that he can bathe himself in.
Nuh-uh. That's not what he's doing.
Yes, he's going to the waters of. He has to go dunk himself in the rechristen himself, like the kid was doing.
Oh,
in that water, he has to be christened in the water that he was. He has to be
reborn.
He has to go and reborn, like a reborn, born again Christian kind of thing. He has to be a born again Mandalore.
But he has to go back
to where he was christened.
Gotcha. All right.
Because that's the thing I think of is I think that's what they're trying to say is that the only place you can be redeemed at is where you were christened at.
Gotcha.
And he was christened at the mines, the water underneath the mines of Mandalore.
And now he needs what's his face?
Because I think he wants to be rechristened as that Mandalore, so then he can get Grogu christened. Because he wants to bring Grogu into the group.
Well, no, I think he wants to be a official Mandalorian again. I don't think.
I know, but I think it's also the alternative thing is he wants to it's like you can't when your parents as you're growing up they want you to be in the same religion they're in when they are.
Yeah.
So if they're separate from their church that they grew up in, they have to go back and redo their stuff. So that way then you could go and get confirmed kind of thing.
Well, antics will ensue. I'm sure adventures will happen here.
Because a new space pirate. Swamp Thing in space.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, it's funny because he didn't what's his name? Killed the other space pirates.
Yeah.
And they see Mando flying and they're like, we're going after you now.
Well, because they can't get the grief, so they figure you're leaving the planet, we can go after you.
Yeah. A nice little
take out his muscles, so to speak.
Right. I that was a nice little space battle.
Yeah. Well, it also sets up the antagonist for the season kind of thing. He's gonna be the because they also said what's his face has been taken off and put in prison. Esposito's character. So yeah. So he's gone. So
I have to say, it was so nice to hear the music. Everything looks so good.
It was nice to see Pedro Pascal in sunlight and in happy spaces and not death and destruction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
being
can really
chased
see
by
him.
Zombies and things, But even just this hearing his voice is not.
Yeah.
Having it,
threatening people to take out their kneecaps.
Well, he does that. It's Mandalorian too, but just in different ways.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it was a good first episode. I was hoping for something longer. It flew by.
It did fly by. But then again, I was thinking about it too. I think it's because Last of Us is an hour.
Yeah.
And that we think, oh, okay, that's how much time you need. Whereas Mando, it's no, we can bust this out in 37 minutes.
And then, like, if you take
Like,
credits out of there,
okay.
this thing is done in like even less time.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's just the first chapter of many. So,
Yes.
but yeah, it was
Chapter
great
17 of many.
for me. It was just refreshing to have Mando back. It's like one of my favorite Star Wars properties. Yeah, I love it. So I'm excited to see where this goes. It was a fun first episode. A lot of member berries with all these different creatures from different movies. Some familiar faces. We're on a new adventure. We have two. He has two objectives right now. Of course. So and Grogu is adorable.
Yeah.
So and you know what's funny?
We get 8. We have 8 episodes coming.
Yeah, I sell stickers, and when there's a last year, Stranger Things sticker sold big time because Stranger Things had just come out yesterday. I had kids
Grogu.
Grogu,
A lot of kids wearing Grogu.
and then wanting Grogu. I have tons of Mandalorian stickers,
Mm.
Grogu stickers. Kids, that they wanted. It was great.
Yeah, a friend of Jackie's was the one that was dressed up as Mando. That was there with his kid dressed as Fennec Shand.
Yeah, the whole family.
That was Pete, a friend of that I know from Jackie. It's a friend of Jackie's, his family.
Yeah, the mom.
We're all dressed up. She was the youngest, was dressed up as Grogu. Yeah.
Yeah, they were at my table. Yeah, it's cool.
Then the girl that was a friend of theirs that they brought was dressed up as Princess Leia from Boba Fett, or from Obi-Wan.
Nice.
She had Lola, little droid in her hand and everything.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah. I was like, oh man, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the costumes yesterday were really good.
There's some like really good ones.
Spider-Ham was my favorite.
Yeah, that's the guy that dressed up as the Deadpool all the time.
But Spider-Ham, I haven't seen a Spider-Ham before.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was over by our booth beforehand talking with Matt before he got the costume on.
Yeah. But anyway, for me, I mean, this week, it was a grade A week for TV between Last of Us and Mando.
Yeah.
Both were fantastic. I enjoyed them both. It's one's going to be ending while the next one's going to be beginning.
Yeah, we have Mando all the way till April 19th. Season finale.
Nice. Take us right into the springtime.
Yeah.
Warm weather, here we come.
Yeah.
So
hopefully sooner rather than later.
I know, right?
Get sick of this cold.
Yeah. All right, Marcus.
Okay, well, before we get done, we have to do our usual thing with Mando. What do you rate Mando? Episode 1, season 3.
All right. Well, I will say this. For me, Last of Us has been 10s all the way through. Another 10 for me. Mando.
That's the Last of Us scale. You got to think of this in the Mando scale.
Mando scale. It wasn't the big pop we had last season or the very first episode. I would say it was slightly under that because I feel like they're going in my opinion, we're going in with lower expectations because we're building to something bigger. And I feel like if they don't want to go into they don't want to come in on a big bang. They want to build to the big bang.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And I think I could be wrong, but that's how I perceive it. And so I think in the Mando scale, and I would say last season to me was an awesome episode. Yeah. That was like a 9 or 10. I would say this was an 8. It's an 8 because it's just building. We're building here.
Exactly.
Nothing major happened, but we are getting acclimated with what's going on in this world. So I feel like it can only go up, in my opinion. I don't know.
I agree. I'll put it at an 8 as well. I was going to say the same thing. You want to leave it space to breathe. And I agree that Last of Us, I'd probably say that they weren't all 10s, but then again, I didn't play the game, so I don't have all the attachment to it that you do.
Yeah.
So the last episode was not one of my favorite episodes. So, but anyways, here nor there. But Mando, 8 for me. And I will tell people, I know you're not into the cartoons, but this season of Bad Batch, they're getting into a story in Bad Batch right now that is amazing. and it's so good, and it's so intriguing, and I don't know what they're going with it, where they're going with it, but it's gonna be very interesting to see if they're doing what I think they're gonna be telling the story of. It's gonna help make those movies that were not that great, the sequels, it's gonna make them a little bit more interesting. So stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that as that season wraps up as well. And we'll be back with more next week with episode 2 of Mando, season finale of Last of Us.
Yes.
Whew, man, a lot going on.
And I'll be talking about Buffy and Angel.
And Brian will be talking about Buffy and Angel, a show that happened 25 years ago. So with that, as always, we'll be back next week. And be safe, be well, be kind.
Rewind.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.